Good day and welcome to another episode of the Adobo Collection podcast. This is Marco, your host, and today we will catch up with Steffi, one of the co-creators of this program. Yung last episode natin, kasama natin si Ate Colleen and Mary, and we were talking about books, and that was the idea of Steffi. Um, so we were hoping na sana makahabol siya because there were some circumstances that caused her not to be part of that episode. Pero ayun, it's so unfair na wala siya because she's the one who suggested that idea, that topic about books. So now, this is about her. This is about her journey in reading books. So we will talk about that. Also, there are some topics na napag-usapan namin along the way. Like for example, yung social dilemma and how did it affect her views on things, on using Facebook and using other social media platforms. And also, since we're talking about books na rin, I know Steffi is an avid user of Kindle, so we will talk about the difference or how it feels to read using Kindle. So I hope that you will enjoy this episode, learn from it, and maybe we can give some recommendations and enlighten you about some information that you're not yet aware of. So thank you for listening and please enjoy this episode. Oh, yun. Social Dilemma. Bakit pinanood mo ulit? Di ba may leak last night?
Last night?
Oo, nabalitaan mo yon. May leak. May hacker group na nag-hack lahat ng username, email, personal information ng Facebook kagabi.
Oh, no.
So,
I wasn't online kaya hindi ko alam.
Oo. Kagabi lang yun eh. Breaking news, Facebook, hack. Parang kagabi yun eh.
This was all over the world?
Ata.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
6 hours ago, 500 million users. A Facebook hacker post 500 million users data. So, ayun. Kaya, ewan ko
They
kung
are they're gonna make money out of that for sure.
Identity theft, diba?
Tama. Nag-start yun sa social dilemma and then last February, nag-downgrade ako to dumb phone, diba? February ba yun? I think February or late January, ganyan.
Oo nga, diba?
And until now, April na, I haven't attempt to buy a new phone. As in, kung ano yung phone ko noon, yun pa rin yung phone ko ngayon. And because of my disconnection sa social media, my disconnection to technology, technically, hindi talaga pwedeng disconnection kasi I still work online. I work from home. So, because of that disconnection, ang dami ko nang na-accomplish na. And I started writing again. I'm preparing for Adobo talks. Ang dami ko ring nabasang books. So parang ang saya lang bumalik sa parang back in high school. Walang Facebook, walang ano ba 'yun? Friendster. Walang Friendster. Ang saya lang, parang it's so refreshing.
Nakakatuwa naman. After social dilemma, yun din yung tumigil din ako. Prior to October, parang, basta August, September ata ako nawala. Pero nung sinimulan ko itong Facebook nga, itong Adobo Collection, yun lang, parang napilitan akong bumalik. Pero, ayun nga, ang ganda talaga.
sayang, sayang. Pero
Mm.
anyway, parang disiplina na rin ang ginagawa ko ngayon.
Oo, correct. Ano yan, eh, I think sabay-sabay tayo nag-transition last year before we
Mm.
started the podcast na we stopped social media as na alam ko we were halos magkasabay lang. And
Oo,
then you introduced me with Social Dilemma, the Netflix show, and then eto tuloy-tuloy na, and ang sarap pala sa feeling na hindi ka na-i-involve with other people's business kasi hindi mo nakikita yung Facebook nila.
tama. After din nun, tsaka ako nagkaroon ng lakas ng loob to post stuff ng yung creative stuff. Kasi
Mm,
prior to that, ang laki ng influence ng social media sa akin pagdating
mm,
sa validation ba na I want to get validated, mga ganun sa
hmm,
work ko. Pero after that,
exactly.
parang I don't care na. Kaya siguro ang ganda rin. Imagine with that, ang laki ng impact ng social dilemma na yun.
Exactly.
Anong
And
pangalan? May podcast din siya eh. Si hanapin ko nga yung name. Tristan Harris. Meron
mm,
siyang podcast. Mm,
mm,
Tristan Harris podcast. Ano na to? Your Undivided Attention yung name niya.
and also I think Ate Colleen was the one who introduced me to Cal Harris tuloy, Cal Newport.
Import.
Oo, and I've been into his books lately. Actually marami, eh. So parang divided na yung utak ko. I've been, reading Cal Newport. I've been listening to his talks in YouTube and in podcast din. Ang galing, eh. Talagang sa panahon ngayon, there are so much digital distractions. Nakakasira talaga ng buhay.
Oo. Ganito nga tayo. Sige nga, parang kuhan nga tayo ng ideas ngayon and books maybe.
Oo,
Total,
random. Oo,
wala naman yung iba. I think it's good then to do this. Kasi
yeah.
ang raw parang yung kay Ate Colleen last Saturday,
Mm,
parang ang inisnip ko lang talaga is around 10 minutes. Pero
mm,
the whole thing, yun na yun as is, pati yung mga ubo, etc. Kasi parang
mm.
ang ganda rin ng raw na ganun. Parang,
Yeah.
hmm,
Yeah, I was listening to it kanina and then I had to skip the part na may mga spoilers sa book reviews kasi oh no, I'm still reading Mockingbird until now. So skip,
ah,
skip, skip. Kasi parang lately, how do I say this ba? I started reading before I went to school kasi the same lola who raised me is the same lola who raised Mary. So yung influence namin sa reading, almost same source. And
mm,
then, alam mo yung bata ka, nagbabasa ka ng Reader's Digest kahit di mo naiintindihan,
oo,
basta nasasabi mo yung words, parang ganun. And
oo.
back in high school, parang uh, my friends don't read. So, I was in, how do I say this? Nasa group of friends ka ng mga taong hindi nagbabasa. If
Mm.
they read the pocketbooks, yung, ano ba yung maliliit na pocketbooks na Tagalog?
Oo. Yung
O
mga
yung mga,
gano'n. Bibili sa
oo,
instant. Yung mga
oo,
gano'n.
tama. So, ang avenue ko nun sa library, sa school library diyan sa City High. And then
Mm.
I would borrow books from the library. Pero hindi kasi kami nagkakaintindihan. Hindi ako how do I say this? Hindi ako nakaka-jive sa kanila kasi when you don't read the same thing, hindi kayo nagkakaintindihan. And I was in a different place in my life where I enjoy the things I read. Parang ganon. Yung parang odd one out. Parang ako yung odd one, ganon. And then
Ah,
until college, I'm
mhm.
sorry?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Until college, gano'n na parang, I like to write and I like to read at the same time. I do diary, journals, ganyan. And none of my friends were doing that. So
Uh-huh.
parang Until sa siyempre nagdadalaga ka, nasama ka sa wrong group of people, and you were introduced to vices like drinking, partying, and so until sa I lost reading completely, which is
Uh-huh.
actually my first love. So, parang lately lang, sometime before I got married, I went back to school. And then I studied again. Kasi parang yun lang yung avenue na, kumbaga nare-release ko yung sarili ko. So, after that, I started reading again and again. And because it's very essential na you keep up with the fast pace of business, ganyan. Business, my course was business, and working in corporate companies, kailangan mong matuto. And then it was also through the influence of Ate Colleen, I was reading business books.
Mhm.
So, sabihin mo na about 80% of the books in my Kindle are all business related books.
Because of
Until
Ate
yeah, because of Ate Colleen. And talagang nagbabasa ako nung business related kasi somewhat I feel na I have to keep up at work kasi if you don't give, or let's just face the truth, pagka wala kang value sa trabaho, you're nothing, parang ganun. And
Mhm.
it's part of the corporate, I think it's part of the corporate world that you have to offer something valuable in order for them to keep you, parang ganun.
Mm.
Until
Mm.
I explored booktube, I didn't know that there was a thing such as booktube.
Ha?
And then booktube, as in booktube, YouTube siya
Ah,
pero they
okey.
talk about books. So I was so happy kasi sabi ko, "Oh my gosh, finally an avenue for me to express myself," ganyan. But I don't do booktube, nanonood lang ako. And then meron akong ka-workmate, she sent me physical books, like siguro mga 4 or 5 pieces of physical books. And then may novel dun, tapos na ako sa fiction, feeling ko pambata lang yun. And then I
Oo.
started reading the books she was giving me, and then, booktube nga 'yan, na-e-entice ako sa booktube. And then, um, I saw her collection of beautiful books, like it's leather bound, Barnes and Nobles. It was really beautiful. Probably this is exaggeration, pero I guess I can say that that's the most beautiful library I've ever seen in my life kasi ang gaganda ng mga book cover.
Mm.
Pero personally speaking, ikaw ba, paperback ba ang preference mo? Let's take away Kindle kasi Kindle talaga is a different level eh. Paperback ba or hardbound, leatherbound?
Um, for me, as long as it's physical copy, eh. I mean, I tried Kindle, 'di ba, yung nung kakasimula natin itong podcast na 'to, parang kakabili ko rin nung Kindle ko nun.
Mm.
Pero hindi ko parang hindi ako nagfo-focus. Parang,
Oo.
I don't know, I mean, it's just me, but for some people it works. It's just that, sa akin wala it doesn't have an appeal. Parang, at ang ganda nung idea nun, eh, na I can carry it
Mm.
everywhere. You know, I can carry multiple books and kapag nagbibiyahe-biyahe ako, yung airports, ganyan na, ah, tapos ang hirap naman ng ang dami mong dala. Eh, ako yung
Oo.
tipo na kaya kong pagsabayin yung mga books na parang 20 minutes dito ta's lipat ako sa kabila.
'Di
So,
ba, puwede?
yung idea na yon na Kindle is, wow, amazing. Pero nung nahawakan ko siya, parang ewan ko, siguro yun, kulang pa ng pagkahinog. Hindi pa ako nahinog for
Mm.
Kindle.
Oo,
Pero
sanayan lang.
sanayan lang, gano'n. Tama, tama.
Yun nga, sanayan lang. Ako talaga kasi 2 years na Kindle talaga ako. Eto lang yung recent na binigyan ako nung ka-work ko ng books, tapos binigyan na naman ako ng books, and then I discovered na sa Baguio City Library puwede ka namang hiram ng book. So I started borrowing there, and then just because of my curiosity, just because of the thought na nakita ko yung library niya na sobrang ganda talaga, it was really beautiful, covers. I started checking, sabi ko, "Bakit panay children's classics, classic literature?" Sabi ko. And a few years ago, siguro nung nasa school ka rin ganyan, ni-require tayong magbasa ng classic literature, and it wasn't my thing, parang gano'n.
Oo, tama.
Oh, 'di ba? Kasi
Classics
pagka
din.
tsaka ano, assigned reading talaga, maboboring ka sa ganyan, eh.
Mm.
So, out of curiosity lang, sabi ko, "Sige nga, testing natin," sabi ko. So, nag-download ako ng, meron kasi sa Kindle, Kindle Unlimited, where you can download free books or sa public domain pagka na yung author, ganyan. So, triny ko, eh, 1800s pa yung book ta's sabi ko,
Ah,
okey lang, sige try
classic.
natin, sabi ko. Oo,
Oo,
classics nga, 200 years old na mga books, gano'n. And then I
okey.
started with, Hans Christian Andersen, which were,
Ah,
fairy tales. Oo, do'n ako
okey.
nag-start. And then hindi ko na siya matigilan kasi I was shocked. This is ano, spoiler, eh. I'm not sure kung puwede akong mag-spoiler dito, eh. Oo, okey lang 'yan. Ang daming I was
Go lang.
shocked kasi, ang daming Disney adaptations while I was growing up, knowing na babae pa ako, mahilig akong magbasa ng fairy tales when I was younger, na hindi pala talaga 'yun yung original version. So, nung nag-start ako with Little Mermaid hanggang sa sunod-sunod every single day. May tinatapos ako every single day, short story, long story, tinatapos ko 'yan every single day. I started with Grimm's, Andrew Lang, Hans Christian Andersen, and then I was shocked kasi who in the right mind would allow your kids to read a book that includes murder, that
Oo,
includes, ano pa ba yun, dark stories like, for example, Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid is happy ending, 'di ba? Sa original version, she just disappeared in air. Hindi sila nagkatuluyan. And then what else? Ano pa ba yung pinaka-morbid na nabasa ko? Parang yung Little Red Shoes, I think there's a Disney adaptation.
oo,
Pinutol yung paa niya sa original story. So, I just got interested. It started with that. So, mga classic fairy tales of 200 years old. And then I started um, with classics like Jane Austen, mga ganyan, Charles Dickinson. Um, Parang
oo.
kailan lang eh. May Ann also happens to be reading those kinds of books. So, she shared me her stack and then hindi ko na rin masyadong napapansin yung Kindle ko kasi I started with physical books and
O
it's amazing. Oh my gosh, it's really amazing. The words, I'm sorry, I think this is OA na.
oo,
Pero
go lang.
I in my comment, I think that the words from well, it's hindi tayo pare-pareho and the people siguro they wouldn't understand the same excitement that I feel right now. Pero I just wanna say that the books that was made 1800s or 200 years ago, it was full of manners. The words were beautifully written na talagang transports you to a different level, to a different world, and it's as if alam mo yun, I'm not even sure if I can read modern. Siguro
Hmm,
retail pwede pa, pero modern novels as of the moment, parang ang hirap mag-transition kasi at the moment, parang ikaw, I read 4 or 5 books at a time. And
oo,
I think there's nothing wrong with that.
mm. Ang kwan
Free.
siguro nun
Mhm.
sige lang.
Ikaw na.
Hmm, siguro nun parang hindi pa siya gaano polluted, eh. I mean, Victorian
Mhm.
era tapos yung mga writers talaga is, talagang, yun yung craft nila, eh, ng mga time na yun. If you're a writer, writer ka lang talaga. Pero it's nakakatuwa 'no na 'yan na-discover mo ulit si, Hans Christian Andersen na
Hmm.
ang kulit na yung mga fairy tales natin, eh, may parang, more grotesque na version or gore,
Hmm.
yung mga gano'n. Pero 'di
Yeah,
ba nagkuhan tayo nun about movies and horror and, yun nabanggit namin yung mga serial killer pero kuwan ano, kakaiba na nahanap mo yung liking mo sa books pagdating sa gano'ng bagay rather sa movies.
kaya nga, eh, and I remember expressing sa inyo na ayoko talaga ng horror, hindi ko kayang manood ng horror. Pero
Mm,
for some reason, parang when I was reading it, na-hook na ako. Up to the point na Pati si Raymond, inaakay ko na rin magbasa ng mga stories na, alam mo yun, within the middle of the story or pag natapos niya yung story, he would have the same reaction like, "What? Bakit gano'n?" Parang, and these were made for kids. Pero I think there's a reason why they had to incorporate fear sa mga bata.
Oo. Bakit?
Um,
As form
kasi
of discipline, gano'n? Or
yeah, probably form of discipline at saka yung siguro para hindi rin sila masyadong gullible, that
oo.
they can be kidnapped or they can be murdered at any time. Sorry, medyo ano. Yun yung nakikita ko sa
Mm.
mga binabasa ko. I think they were trying to somehow incorporate the harshness of reality sa mga stories na yun.
Ano yung book na nagre-remind sa'yo nung bata ka? Na
Bata
parang
ko,
ano ba first na binasa mo talaga?
ah,
Na yung isang book na talagang buwan?
let me see. Bata ako, siguro ano, Grimm's Fairy Tale. Pero yung version ko ng Grimm's na sa aming magkakapatid, kasi we share the books, ano na yun, I feel like selected na yung fairy tales na nasa book na yun.
Oo.
And I think it's already abridged kasi hindi siguro child-friendly yung mga stories. Kaya either abridged or selected na lang talaga.
Oo nga 'no. Hmm.
Ikaw ba?
Wala, mga Bible stories.
Bible stories.
Ayan ang kwan. Alam mo yung mga nag-iikot na mga Jehovah, yung mga may binebenta sila ng mga parang books. Tapos ayun,
Mm.
binibili naman ng lola ko. Tapos binabasa ko lang. Um, tas yun, siguro yun lang yung mga memories ko nun. Tas mga encyclopedia. Doon ako namuna.
Oo.
Pero
Oo, maganda yan.
after nun, kumbaga, yung mga artsy na talaga na mga books, yung talagang fiction na mga high school na ako nun eh, talaga. Um,
Oo.
high school talaga. Tapos, I'm more, pagka sa fairy tale, yun, meron din phase na ganyan, mga elementary, fairy
Mm.
tale books, fables, pero parang hindi ko na-enjoy yung phase na yun. Ewan ko ba. Mas
Hmm.
na-enjoy ko yung art sa books. Mas na-enjoy ko yung mga drawing nung time na yun. Pero talagang nag-explore na lang talaga ako sa fiction noon na, mga high school na.
Mm.
Paunti-unti, pakapal ng pakapal yung binabasa. Tapos, ayun, buti nga yung sa Baguio talaga and the institutions na ng yung noon, nung time natin is talagang even though yung nabanggit mo kanina ng yung puwersahan yung pagbabasa natin ng literature eh, at least parang
Oo.
feeling ko may naitulong yun. Kasi
Oo.
parang na-build mo ah, yung bang endurance mo na umupo at magbasa. Kasi yung mga bata,
Hmm.
lalo dito sa Thailand, kasi ang hirap talaga. Yun yung one of the biggest struggles ko ngayon. Kasi ako yung language arts teacher nila tapos history. Tapos ang mga Thai kasi, lalo ang mga bata ngayon, hindi talaga nila kayang upuan. Hindi kasi sila sinanay to read literature. Ah,
Mm.
yung English nila dito, parang math ang style. They're more on ESL rather than the reading part. Kumbaga,
Mm.
which is, yun yung hassle kasi I'm teaching them or I'm preparing them to take the American diploma. Eh, ang daming reading talaga. So, ang style, talagang hindi nila kayang tagalan yung pag more
Hmm.
than 3 paragraphs na. Wala na.
Naku.
Kaya sabi ko, "Hay, ang ganda kaya." Ewan ko, parang ang gusto kong ma-build nila is yung nostalgia na habang
Mm.
nagbabasa ka, yung sobrang ngiti mo habang nagbabasa ka. Pero sa kanila makita mo pa lang na ilapag na yung kakalapag yung material parang ire-reject yung mukha nila maasim na eh. Yun ang mahirap. Sana
Oo. I
ma-build.
think ano na rin, may kinalaman na rin kasi sa technology kung
Hmm.
ano nang nangyayari sa mundo ngayon kasi hindi ka na honestly, hindi ka naman makakakita ng taong nagbabasa ng libro in public. Parang very rare sight yun kung meron ka bang makitang nagbabasa ng libro in public, right?
Tama. I mean, dati madami. Sa jeep meron.
Yeah. Oo. Mga ano, for example, yung Harry Potter books, uso yan nung high school ako eh.
Oo. Diba?
Mga
It's a
ganyan na hinihiram sa library, nung pwede pang humiram ng libro.
mm, parang bragging rights mo na may tinapos kang libro.
Yeah,
It's pride.
exactly.
Ana, ganon. Oh,
Oo. Eh, yun din kasi yung nag-nurture ng creativity ng tao,
mm,
pagbabasa.
mm,
And not everyone can express themselves as much as a reader or a writer can do kasi for example, like you and me, like Mary or Ate Colleen, pare-pareho kasi tayong mahilig magbasa ng books kaya it's easy for us to express ourselves, parang ganun.
mm, mm, mm.
So, can you imagine like um kailan ba yun? Like kaya siguro hindi talaga ako nakasali nung last episode kasi a few days ago, I think it was 2 days ago,
Mm.
yung nahanap nung sister ko yung mga diary ko nung bata ko.
Ah,
So,
okay.
sabi ko gano'n, I'm so glad na wala pang social media nung time na yun. Kasi I saw that the diary that na naipon dun was like 20 years ago, 2001, mga ganyan. Imagine writing a diary in your elementary years, dun ko na-realize na I write a lot. Like, isang araw, 3 pages and you're just grade 5 or grade 6.
Ganda,
So I
no?
was laughing. Nakakatuwa nga, binasa ko, tawa ko ng tawa. Sabi ko, buti na lang walang social media that time.
Oo.
Kasi yun pa, tapos yun pa yung time na, I'm not sure kung nagda-diary ka when you were younger eh. Pero yun yung time na you value so much of your privacy. So you
Oo.
don't need an avenue to prove yourself or a
Oo.
platform to announce to everybody what's going on in your life. Parang ganon.
Oo. Tama. Tama. Yung mga time na yun. I mean, diary is sacred talaga.
Yeah.
I mean, hindi naman ako nagda-diary pero I mean, it's your privacy talaga yung pinapangalagaan mo. Ngayon parang
Mm.
yung status post is yun na yung diary mo pero it's opposite para malaman nila how you feel or hindi na
Oo.
yung
Yeah, and exactly. And what's funny is, I'm not shading anyone. Okay, just to be clear, this is just my opinion. Pinost niyo po yan online, so nakikita ko kung anong pinopost niyo. So this is how I react. May mga taong they cannot express or they do not even mind to talk to the person na yung sinashade nila or yung inaaway nila sa social media. They don't they don't even bother to talk to that person, but they post about that person online.
oo
And
yun
it's not, oo, it's not doing any good kasi you're making your problem a public problem and it's causing it's alam mo yun, kumakalat yung energy mo across social media. Or for some like us, you're creating an avenue for entertainment for other people who doesn't really give a how do you I'm not supposed to curse. So who doesn't give anything or whatever it is in your social status, 'di ba parang gano'n?
Tama. I
And
mean,
nakakalungkot lang kasi, let's just face it, ang daming tao ngayon na mas maraming oras mag-online at mag-scroll sa social media than to put actual content in themselves, like to read a book or to discover something new.
Oo, tama. Tama yun eh. Dapat nga, continuous yan eh. I mean,
Mm.
miss ko yung habit ng mga matatanda. One more thing is, yun siguro yung print media. Napakatinding bagay niyan noon eh, yung
Mm.
newspapers. Kasi yun yung era natin na nakikita natin yung mga lolo't lola natin na um, laging may makakapal na newspaper noon eh. Diba? Or kahit
Oo nga.
paper, tabloid. Pero andun pa rin talaga. So, I wish na mag-grow pa yung reading practice. Kaya lang yun ang
Mm.
nakakatakot eh. It's like it's in danger ba? Pero
Mukhang ganun na nga.
siguro naman, siguro hindi pa natin talaga na kikita. Baka may nangyayari behind the curtains of digital media naman na baka
Mhm,
meron.
exactly.
Let's see, mga 10 years from now, kung ano, di ba?
Yes, and what's funny is that when you scroll through social media, let's say Instagram, Facebook, nagbabasa ka pa rin eh kasi nandun yung mga captions nila, 'di ba?
Bagay.
So, they're not aware. This is what I realized from um taking a break from social media. Parang you consume the same amount of data, you consume the same amount of information every single day when you scroll down your phone. And you can also consume the same data when you open a book to read. It's just that the other data has substance and the other data has, how do we classify it?
Hmm.
Ayun na yun. 'Di ba?
Unvalidated
Mm,
information, di ba? Hindi pa talaga.
yun.
Hindi
Yun.
natin.
And correct. Meron pa eh. For example, again, I'm not shading anyone. Sorry, baka may mga sensitive na makakarinig sa mga sasabihin ko. Meron yung, for example, usong-uso na kasi ang love o love, care, emoji, ano pa, yung like, mga ganyan. Pagka may nagka-baby, congratulations, or may kinasal, congratulations. But nung time kasi ng mga parents natin, 'pag may nagka-baby, you would go there and show your congratulations by maybe giving something that the baby needs, parang gano'n. Or, alam mo 'yun, yung instead of like the sincere feeling, although COVID ngayon, so hindi magandang idea 'yun, pero alam mo 'yun, show your love, show your intentions towards someone by supporting them with what they need, parang gano'n. Giving
Mm.
them time, bigay ka ng damit ng baby kung may kakilala kang nanganak or yung ka-close mo talaga, instead of like putting the heart emoji, because let's be honest, yung bang heart emoji na binibigay mo, does that really add value to their life?
Validation. Parang
Exactly,
gano'n na
right?
naman, di ba? Mm.
Oo, yun, exactly, validation. Tapos nakaka-contribute pa yan sa ano, dopamine addiction.
Mm.
Kaya ayun, yun lang
Ap-
naman. Ang pinagsimulan lang talaga nito, social dilemma.
mm.
This is how far social dilemma brought me.
Mm. Pero that's good ah. I mean, ang dami mong na-pick up na new habits. I mean, you spend more time on reading rather than doing unnecessary stuff or parang spending more time in online. Kaya
Mm.
mas maganda yung ginagawa mo. Oh, mabalik tayo sa mga libro. So you've been reading Hans Christian Andersen. Um, ano yung or sino yung writer na parang talaga nagbigay ng I mean, ang hirap to tanong yun eh.
Oo
Kasi
nga.
it's usually madami. Ang hirap paliitin. Parang yung tinatanong mo na yung musikero, what's your favorite song? Ang hirap
Oo
eh.
nga.
yung kwan siguro, kung what comes up in your mind muna na ngayon, for now, sino
Mm.
yung writer na parang nagbigay talaga ng impact sa'yo? For now, kasi medyo, I mean, marami naman tayong faces eh.
Oo nga eh. Puwede bang i-categorize ko sa dalawa, like
Sige,
non-fiction and fiction?
go.
Non-fiction si Cal Newport.
Hmm,
Talagang I consider him as my mentor, even if he doesn't know me and he doesn't know that I exist. I consider him my mentor kasi he did all the difficult job by writing down the information and putting into turning the data into a book. So it's Cal Newport. For fiction, I'm going to go back 200 years ago with Jane Austen.
Jane Austen. Sige, punta muna tayo kay Cal Newport. So, Cal
Mm.
Newport, non-fiction, right?
Yeah,
Anong
non-fiction.
mga kwan niya? Anong genre ng books? Parang self-help books, ganun ba? Or
Yeah, self-help. Self-help ang kanyang mga libro.
anong magandang book pag may ire-recommend ka?
Naku, ang hirap niyan, siguro i-recommend ko yung tatlong libro na nabasa ko sa kanya in no particular order. Ay hindi, hindi. Lagyan na lang natin ng category.
Yung
Sorry,
start muna
madami.
for beginners. Cal
Oh,
Newport
sige.
Beginners. Ganun.
Oh, sige. If you are looking into building a career, yung tipong if you're lost, hindi mo alam kung saan ka pupunta, i- hop ka ng hop ng trabaho, wala kang tenureship and happy-go-lucky ka, you read So Good They Can't Ignore You. That's the book for you by ano ba yan? Cal Newport.
Cal Newport.
And
Okay.
yes, and if you are um, job related pa rin, if you are a person na laging busy, let's just say you are a person who doesn't give respect to yourself by not respecting your time. You always do unnecessary things na I think it's the same message I pick up from essentialism. Pero you read deep work. This was recommended by Ate Colleen.
Deep work, no?
Yeah, deep work. And then, finally, if you live in a world of distractions because of the technology, because of social media, and you feel like you need to validate yourself in Facebook na lang kasi itong uso sa Pilipinas, or Instagram, you need to validate yourself all the time in social media. You need the approval of other people to live. You're always consumed day in, day out, napupuyat ka sa gabi, kaka-cellphone, umaga pa lang, nasa CR ka, kumakain ka, naglalakad ka, nakikipag-meet ka sa mga friends mo, and you're on your phone all the time, every single time. Read Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport din.
Talagang kwan si Cal Newport, no? Bata pa, 38, and from MIT. Kaya pala
Mhm.
more on digital and ito about yan nga, um,
Yeah, and magugulat ka kasi he's a computer science prof. I
hmm.
think he's already PhD na.
Oo,
And
doc right na.
oo, doktor na, wala siyang social media, and he works for technology but he's not entangled with the technology chain.
Hmm,
So,
galing.
yun yung tatlong books na mare-recommend ko in detail na pili ka lang ng gusto mo. You don't really have to read everything. Ako kasi, um, we belong in the same circle, so we're all prolific readers. So, ako binasa ko talaga yung tatlo. Pero, pili ka lang kung anong category yung gusto mong pasukin dun. He did all the hard job, ginawa na niya lahat ng mahirap na trabaho. All you have to do is to read it, which is the easiest part.
Hmm.
Ikaw ba?
Kuan muna tayo. Punta muna tayo dun sa isang writer, si Jane Austen.
Jane Austen.
Hmm.
Oh, Jane Austen, anim eh. Um, anim ang kanyang books. I read two, which is Emma and Pride and Prejudice. Pero ang marirecommend ko if you're starting with classics, start with Pride and Prejudice kasi um, I think it's the easiest to read according to the booktubers that I listen to. Kasi parang ang ginagawa ko, one book, one author. I don't do two authors at a time, only one para hindi ako nahihilo. And I don't want to give any spoilers kasi I encourage everyone to read. There's a movie, but just like what we talked about before, the movie is nothing like the book. Every single detail you will find in the book, you would appreciate the book first if you read the book, not the movie. Jane Austen,
Oo.
her stories were 200 years, I think it's about 200 years ago.
Mm.
I would recommend her books because, particularly Pride and Prejudice, kasi it gives power as a female.
Mm.
It gives power to the characters, and the the words in the books is beautifully written that it would make you feel that you are in that actual setup. Parang kumbaga, Maring Jane, 'yan nagkukuwento lang si Maring Jane, binabasa mo lang yung kwento niya, nakikinig ka sa sinasabi niya, and it transports you to a world different from the current world that we live in, and you would appreciate how they lived back then na somehow it has something to do with discovery. Like, hindi ko alam before reading the novel na puwede palang ikasal ang magpinsan during the 1800s
Oo.
na, puwede palang mag-asawang mga clergymen, yung mga gano'n. And then it goes back to history, although it's not Filipino history, but you still get, an idea of how it was before. And to me, I keep saying this word, I think it's a beautiful experience that you have to experience for yourself, parang gano'n.
Mm.
Corny 'no?
Hindi. Ganda nga yan. Alam mo, parang I'm looking at the pattern, 'di ba? Tapos Hans Christian Andersen, Jane Austen, baga almost in the same century.
Yeah.
Almost in the same era. Kumbaga nasa pre-Victorian lang si Jane Austen, tapos Victorian era naman si Hans Christian. So parang
Mm.
doon din eh. Tapos parang I'm may mga naalala lang ako na yung ewan ko kung well, classics nga siguro. Pero nakakatuwa rin
Mm.
magbasa ng mga gano'n, eh, na around Victorian era na mga setting, 'di ba, na old, Great Britain na setup ng gano'n. Ano na pangalan pa nung isa, si Charles Dickens, mga gano'n na
Oo.
'di ba? Mga tamang developing pa ang England although empire na sila pero ang gulo pa rin. Yung mga gano'n na
Oo.
era, ang gandang magbasa, eh.
Ang
Parang
ganda nga. I
may
heard ano rin, pati Bronte sisters din, eh, parang kasabayan din yata ni Jane Austen 'yan.
pangalan?
Bronte sisters. So,
Ah,
I think Wuthering Heights sa kanila rin 'yun, pero hindi ko pa na-explore. I'm
Wuthering
taking my time. Mm.
oo, around that era rin, pre-Victorian.
Oo.
Pero Wuthering Heights, ah, kanya na oo nga, oo. Emily Bronte nga, tama,
Mm.
tama.
Ang
Ang
dami
gagaling
ang dami palang ano, ang daming masterpiece talaga
oo.
na it's nothing like, what we have now. Kasi siyempre modern na tayo, so mas makaka-relate tayo sa modern literature kasi mas naiintindihan natin. Pero ako, I would really say na it's worth it giving it a try to read these classic books kasi
Tama,
ang daming ang dami, ang dami mong madi-discover. You're
mm.
into classics din, I believe?
Medyo kasi history parang meron din mga, ah, modern writers na nagsusulat ng parang Victorian era mga gano'n. Parang si
Mm.
Caleb Carr, 'yun sinusubaybayan ko 'yun. Caleb Carr, 90s siya, around 1990 siya, 1994, 95 mga gano'n siya nagsusulat. Pero yung setup, as in para siyang pseudo writer ng mga ng mga ng mga writers na nabuhay nung time na yon. Ganon yung style
Hmm,
niya eh. So, parang naman siya, ano bang tawag doon? Sino na yung detective? Ah,
si si Sherlock?
parang mga ganon style pero he is focusing on hindi mainstream na action na Victorian era. Parang more on mystery,
Oh.
parang yung phenomenon ng hindi pa alam yung hindi pa alam kung ano ang serial killer. Parang
Mm.
wala pa yung term na yon. So parang yung The Alienist, yun yung ang tawag kasi sa mga psychologist noon, or psychiatrist, doctor pala, um, is yun, the alienist ang tawag sa kanila because they study the untouched part of the human brain. Parang ganun. Kaya alien part. So the alienist. So meron isang doktor na eto galing to sa book ni Caleb Carr. Yung
Mhm.
title ng book na yun is The Alienist. So may isang doktor na yun, inaaral niya. Behavioral psychologist yung doktor na yun. So, inaaral niya yung mga phenomenon ng ganito na, uy, may habit siya na bakit siya namamatay. So, inaaral niya yung mga psychopaths. Pero nung time na yun is parang pseudoscience ang tingin sa ganon, di ba? Kasi, ano
Mm.
ba yan? Inaaral nila yung part ng brain na kasi ang gustong i-prove ng doctor is may relationship ang behavior sa structure, sa physiology ng
Mhm.
brain, kung ano yung structure. So mga ganong libro, pero that's set, yung setting ng book na yun is mga ganon, 1850s. So, ang ganda rin eh. Hmm.
Galing naman.
Dami.
Maraming research 'yan.
Oo, ako, nerd ako pagdating sa mga history related na books na ganyan. And parang ang ganda lang, mga
Oh.
ano bang tawag sa basta parang mixed genre, nakakaiba. Mga ganun ang mga trip-trip ko eh.
Mm.
Hmm.
Maganda rin kung gano'n. I think last episode ikaw ba 'yun yung share about To Kill a Mockingbird?
Hmm.
Yeah, ikaw 'yun. Kasi I had to skip that part kasi binabasa ko pala yung book na 'yun.
Oo. Isa yon sa mga favorites. Um, kahit na parang one book wonder nga lang si ano, Harper Lee.
Meron
Uh,
siyang may sequel daw 'yun eh.
meron nga daw. Again, meron daw mga pero meron naman siya mga ibang books din. Pero yung parang one hit wonder ba na
Mm.
book. Pero
Oo nga eh.
Harper Lee, parang
Okay
tomboy.
lang kahit one hit wonder siya. Talagang I think the book is really worth reading.
Ganda nun. Super. Yun, bagay, wala akong masasabi na nag-stick ako sa isang genre eh. Pero marami yung mga hindi ko binabasa. Parang,
Mm.
for example, yung romance, medyo tinigil ko na gaano. Pero of course, nadaanan nga natin yan. Di ba meron tayong phase na nag-usap tayo about movies noon. Yung si, anong pangalan?
Oo. Nicholas Sparks.
Nicholas Sparks.
Oh, nagbasa ka ng A Walk to Remember.
Tas-
Oh. Well, since we're on that topic, may mga books kang binibili na hindi mo binabasa, 'di ba? Guilty ka dun.
meron. Meron mga
Oo.
pa.
Oh, what's your take on book consumerism? Kasi meron mga tao na, but I totally respect them, may mga taong yung mga nagko-collect talaga ng mga books and eto yung mga pretty cover na books, gano'n. But they don't read it because they say na wala silang time magbasa, or there are some people who buys the book but don't read the book because eventually nawalan sila ng interest, or dahil nga nawalan sila ng time. What's your take on that?
Sa akin, there should be a limit eh. I mean, acceptable lang siguro to a certain number. For example, parang meron kang around, kung huge collector ka, parang if you have a collection of 100 books, tapos meron kang 15 books na hindi pa nabasa, I mean, that's okay. Kasi parang I
Mhm.
take Ate Colin's advice on that nung last episode na sabi niya, yun, parang darating din yung time. There might be a time na mababalikan mo siya and then
Mhm.
it will connect to you. So, there are some books kasi na ganun eh. Parang, meron akong book dati na from Ambeto Campo. Ambeto Campo works for the National Historical Commission ng Pilipinas.
Mhm.
And then, he's he's a Rizalian ba? Ano ba tawag doon? Mga Rizal scholar. Ayun,
Oo.
so he writes books about Jose Rizal and other national heroes in depth. Hindi lang yung parang pang textbook quality. As in para
Oo.
talagang with research, backing up everything. So nung una, hindi ko na-appreciate yun eh. Uh, Parang may friend lang ako na nagbigay yung Rizal with over the Rizal without the overcoat, parang ganon. It's about Jose Rizal, tapos hindi ko muna nabasa until yun nga yung mas naging involved na ako sa politics and yung history.
Mhm.
Ayun na, parang sabi ko okay, andun yun ng ilang taon, tapos saka ko lang binasa. Yun nga, to a certain number, that's my take on it, na hindi siguro 10% or at least 5%, yeah, 10% na lang of the books that you have at yung ganon. Pero if it exceeds 10% na hindi mo binabasa, then yun na, parang it's useless, di ba? It's pointless
Mhm.
na ganon. Kasi you have to give yourself some time then. Hoarding na
Yeah,
yan eh.
exactly.
Kapag,
Exactly. Hoarding na nga.
mm-mm. And then I believe na it's good to share the books. Hindi, yun, eto naman, galing sa isang mainstream writer, si Bob Ong.
Mhm.
Di ba? Kilala niyo yun na,
Yeah. I think na naging movie na rin yung ibang books niya eh.
tas meron akong nabasa noon pa. Actually, bago siya naging mainstream na ganyan, nababasa na kasi who wouldn't notice naman, dalawa lang naman ata ang national bookstore o isa pa nga lang ata ang national bookstore. Bata tayo. So, eventually, mapapansin at mapapansin mo yung mga libro. So, may binili ako libro niya noon. Sabi niya, yun nga, pag binuklat mo yung libro, para siyang ibon, di ba? Parang isang
Mhm.
ibon na nakabuka yung wings niya, ready to fly. Kaya ganun yung shape
Mhm.
po. To to talagang kailangan mo siyang i-let go and i-share mo yung information. Kasi pag nakasara, o di hindi siya lilipad. Nasa
Oo
bookshelf
nga
mo
'no.
lang. So, mas maganda, just i-share mo. Kaya hindi rin tumatagal. Though, ang sakit sa dibdib ko, minsan, magpakawala.
Ay totoo
Lalo,
'yan.
meron akong copy nun, mga early edition ng my God. Ano nang basta um Homer ata yun eh. And the Iliad.
Mhm.
Uh, Yun. Homer, yun. Di ba si Homer yung writer? Basta meron ako mga early edition. Hindi naman as in, kasi kwan yun eh. Greek literature yun na hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Pero meron yung mga sabihin na nating printed around 1920s, 1930s. Napakawalan ko mga ganun. Tapos meron ako mga reader
Wow!
na nine,
Published in 1920s pa 'yan?
mga ganon. Matagal na yun. Mythology siya eh. ang Iliad, di ba?
Okay.
Iliad and Odyssey about Trojan War, ganyan. Tapos si Homer yung writer, parang ganun.
Mm.
Yung mga era yun nila Aristotle, mga ganon, Greek
Mm.
philosophers. So meron ako
Plato,
mga
mga ganyan.
early printed version noon. Pero may friend ako na humiram. So sabi ko, and alam kong hingi naman, parang gano'n. So sabi ko, parang ang hirap. Pero pinikit ko na lang eh. Sige. Kasi yun nga, I live to that philosophy na pag nakita kong gustong-gusto ng tao, I have to let it go eh. Kasi
Mm.
I know that it will do him good, him or her good.
Exactly.
Kaya binibigay ko yung libro. Tapos, gano'n, hindi na ako talagang I try. Tapos meron pa ako mga early edition din ng Reader's Digest 1920s, ganyan.
Wow.
Ang ganda, parang may staple wire pa.
Mm.
I mean, may staple naman na yung bag. Hindi, parang, ewan ko. Pero yung hindi pa glossy, yung talagang yung papel niya is nagyayelo na ng crisp
Oo.
Reader's
Oo,
Digest.
acidic pa yung paper.
Oo, 'di ba ngayon is yung yung glossy na,
Oo,
colored.
glossy na ngayon eh.
Tapos meron ako nun, nakuha ko naman yun sa San Fernando, La Union. Kasi nung nagjo-duty ako, may isang lumang bahay, 'di ba? Mga ancestral homes sa La Union, Ilocos, mga
Mm.
ganun. Tapos yung malapit sa ospital yung tinitirahan ko. So, dating bahay yun ng doktor. Of course, doktor siguro yung may-ari. So, kaya bumili ng Reader's Digest siguro nun or well-read siya.
Mm.
Mga 1920s. Wow! Tapos, parang nakatambak doon, iniipis. Tapos,
Naku.
nagpaalam na ako doon sa nagpapaupa na, pwede ba ako makahingi ng ilang copies? Sabi ko. Tapos, ang ganda ng mga laman ng Reader's Digest noon. As in, parang, wow, life stories of random people. Ang lulupit. Mga
Wow.
kumbaga parang this is a story of a soldier yung after World War I. Di ba isipin mo, wow, etong tao na to who would know na he's from he's from Europe or he's from the States. Tapos babasahin ng isang bata from the Philippines. Parang
That's amazing.
years. So, kaya lang hindi ko naalagaan na yun din eh, napaka-careless ko rin nung parang pinahiram ko lang. Kaya ganun, sayang.
Okay lang. At least nakapagpahiram ka kasi wala rin namang pagkano. I mean, siguro may mga collectors din mahilig mag-collect ng books pero if you're not going to read the books then parang it defeats the purpose eh.
Mm. Meron ka
Ako
bang
meron ba akong sorry ikaw muna.
meron ka bang kinatatakutang basahin na libro? Parang I mean you would like to pero it's hard to
Meron.
read. Ah,
Meron.
ano yan?
I'm not sure if it's hard to read or if it's gonna be easy for me to read. Tatlo. Frankenstein, Dracula, and Stephen King. I wanna try Stephen King kasi na-explore ko na yung medyo morbid na mga stories ng Grimm Brothers at saka ni Hans Christian. So, I want to try, lalo na si Stephen King kasi yung mga na-follow ko sa booktube na mga booktubers, they call themselves booktubers. Ano daw talaga, they really get scared of his work. So, sabi ko, I wanna try. Napaka-wild pa man din ng imagination ko. So, yun, natatakot ako but I want to try. Magsa-start siguro ako with classics like Frankenstein and Dracula. And
So
then,
yun.
magta-transition ako kay Stephen King. How about you?
Bago ko sagutin yan, yung kay Mary Shelley. Ang ganda nun eh. Frankenstein,
Mary
di ba?
Shelley. Ayaw.
Ang backstory daw niyan is kasi asawa niya si Percy Shelley,
Mm.
isang philosopher. Tapos, namatay si Percy Shelley, di ba? Early in their relationship. Yung asawa
Mhm.
ni Mary Shelley. So, sabi nga nila, na-inspired daw si Mary Shelley because of the death of her husband.
Oh.
Ang weird niyan is si Percy Shelley. So, they went to a trip, parang boating trip. Pero sabi nila is may pagka-gay daw yung si Percy Shelley eh. So,
Mhm.
parang suicide daw yun. Yung
Oh,
nangyari
no.
kasi parang nalungkot si Percy Shelley dahil nag-asawa na yung best friend niya, which is parang ka-involved niya in a relationship. Lalaki rin. Of course, kasi parang gay.
Hmm,
Yun ang sabi.
parang mm.
So, nung namatay siya, sabi suicide, pero yun nga, namatay. Kasi si Percy Shelley on his own right is poet talaga eh. Galing din.
Mm.
So, nung namatay si Percy Shelley, yun yung Prometheus, di ba? Ano yung title ng The Modern Prometheus? Ang title ng Frankenstein na una.
Wow, that's very interesting. O sige, add ko yan sa to be read list ko. Pero hindi pa ako ready ngayon.
Ganda rin yan eh. Yung kinatatakutan kong basahin, uh, ang dami eh. Pero it's all about atheism. Kasi parang kontento na ako kasi ngayon eh. Kontento na ako sa state ng beliefs ko na atheist ako pero I'm not militant. Natahimik lang ako. Pero
Mhm.
natatakot akong basahin yung mga libro na written by the greats ng atheism kasi baka maging militant ako. Radical ba mag-isip?
Hmm,
Kaya
oo.
natatakot ko basahin yun. Parang although si Sam Harris, di ba yung recommend ko sa'yo na about meditation,
Waking up. Mhm.
meron siyang sinulat na nakakatawa. Yung para siyang um, ano na to? Basta parang short uh, short book na about sa parang sulat niya sa gobyerno niya, parang my letter to the Christian nation, parang ganun.
Mm.
So,
Oh, that's interesting.
ayan, tapos yung God is not great, yan yung mga hindi ko pa nababasa kasi takot ako eh. Although open naman ako, pero natakot ako kasi I feel na it would affect how I think. And yan nga, si Mrs. is a strong Christian. Ayoko na I would grow hate on her just because of her religion. Eh, hindi ko na
Mhm,
binabasin.
correct. Ah. Oh, siguro ano, pagka malakas na yung loob mong basahin kasi eventually may mapi-pick up ka rin sa librong yun, eh.
Tama.
Pero risky yung ano mo, eh, risky yung mga librong yun, eh.
Mm.
Knowing na like, let's just say that majority of your beliefs, galing rin sa mga books na binabasa mo.
Oo, totoo yan. 'Di ba? We are molded by our beliefs are molded by the information that we take from books talaga.
Exactly. So, parang ano rin yung mga pinapanood mong palabas or yung like Facebook, yung mga binabasa mong articles. So pagka, for example, there are people who believe in fake news because of what they read. Ganon din sa libro.
Speaking of that, may naisip ka ba na parang bagay na nabasa mo from a book and then it changed your behavior a lot na talagang
Ah,
the way you see things? In
mm,
specific na gano'n.
marami. Marami to mention. Pero you will find this very funny. Pero meron akong nabasa na book about spiritual beings.
Hmm.
And I know it sounds weird, like super weird, but there was a time in my life when my mom died that nakakabaliw kasi pag namatayan ka ng magulang, lalo na my mom was hands-on, so lagi ko siyang nakikita. So there was a time I read a book about spiritualism. I'm laughing at it now kasi natatawa na lang ako. Pero I read that book like mga, alam mo yung mga nakikipag-usap sa mumu, yung mga ganun,
Mm.
na humihingi daw sila
Yes,
ng
parang
sign.
gano'n. Mm.
Oo, para makausap nila yung namatay, ganyan. I started reading that book sometime 2000 something, like to 15 or earlier than 2015. But I didn't finish the book kasi sabi ko, masyado na akong nakukonsume nung book. And then, 'di ba my parents are Catholic, so it's against their belief kasi tama nga naman na parang, sa kanila kasi 'pag namatay yung tao, you patay ka na, wala ka na completely, you are resting in a different place.
Mm.
So, tinatawanan ko na lang ngayon, pero nung time na yun talagang napraning ako kasi, siguro pumasok na sa utak ko yung binabasa ko na it's possible that you can still communicate with the dead in mga hindi ko sure kung black magic yun, eh. I didn't finish the book kasi sabi ko, it's not doing me any good, pero naapektuhan ako masyado.
Mhm.
Yung mga weird na stuff na you get from reading. Pati mga articles online, 'di ba may ganun din?
Mm. Mm. Science, ano bang kanan? Oo nga, yung term na yun, 'di ba? Yung may phenomenon din na nun, 'di ba, si, pangalan nun? Si, Freud ba yun? Anong pangalan nun?
Um,
Yun, si Sigmund Freud, parang pinasok niya rin yung ganyan, eh. Yung science, yung communicating with the dead.
Oo, something like that.
Yeah.
Meron pa siyang mga famous works din, eh, na may kinalaman sa psychology, I think.
Tama. Sigmund Freud.
So, ayun, how about you?
Ano yun? Yung,
Like,
uh,
at this
belief, halos lahat naman ang binabasa ko. Kasi, I feel na pagka kunwari, hindi ko na itutuloy. Pero
oo.
pagka meron connection, talagang, and eventually may mapipick up naman ako sa mga binabasa ko talaga.
Oo,
Kaya
correct.
always
At
may,
saka I'm sorry, go ahead.
always may mapipick up talaga.
Exactly. It's the substance of the book, and coming from someone who likes to read, like us in our community, the members of Adobo Collection Podcast, in my opinion, I think it's okay not to finish a book, especially if you don't connect with the book. You don't have to waste your time with the book. It's better that you read something that interests you. It's better that you read something that you want to learn from or you enjoy, rather than forcing yourself to read a book that you don't understand or that you don't enjoy, kasi that's wasting time. For sure, that's wasting time. Like back in school, we had to do forced reading, assigned reading. Hindi mo nai-enjoy kasi inuutosan ka magbasa, parang ganon. Maybe it's a better approach for you to read the book and start the book when you're already interested with the book. That way, you benefit from learning from it and you enjoy it and you don't waste your time because you understand it, 'di ba?
Tama. Pag talagang yun din, hindi ko tinatapos. Although, meron din yung mga bagay talaga na hindi ko natatapos. Pero ang hirap. I wish I would have more time lang talaga to read, and to read. para
Mm,
para more, talagang ang ganda, eh. Kasi every book talaga, ang dami mong mapipick up dyan, eh. It will change you eventually after you finish a certain book.
correct.
May update, eh. Di ba? Parang ganon. It's an update.
Oo, correct.
Bagong
Correct.
open na naman. Parang ganon.
Oo, tsaka ano, ang nagkakaintindihan lang kasi talaga yung mga mahilig din magbasa. hindi natin mai-impose sa tao na magbasa ka ng ganito, gawin mo 'to, sinasayang mo yung oras mo sa ganito. Parang hindi magandang nag-i-impose ng gagawin sa tao, not unless the person is really willing to do it. Kasi kahit na anong impose mo kung hindi naman talaga interesado yung tao, then hindi rin talaga kayo magkakaintindihan. So, it's better that you speak to the people who have the same interest with you, 'di ba?
Oo. Eto,
Oo,
um,
eto nga.
parang eto may tanong din ako. Um,
Puwede na
yung
tayong mag-booktube.
oo, yung kasi tuwing, nagtuturo ako may ibang students na nagtatanong na ayun nga, kumbaga hindi kasi sila readers, 'di ba? Hindi sila
Mm.
nagbabasa gaano, like for example, example lang, hindi naman siguro 'to nangyari, pero hindi ko na rin sasabihin. Parang, for example, meron akong estudyante, who is taking up IELTS, gano'n. Eh, yung IELTS reading is ang dami, dami nun.
Hmm.
Tapos tuwing magbabasa daw siya, blanko, as in blankong-blanko, words lang na binabasa niya pero walang pumapasok. Paano Anong mai-a-advice mo kaya to develop yung reading habit or yung fondness for readings ng isang tao? Paano kaya
Ah,
made-develop especially pagka hindi ka naman hindi ka naman lumaki talaga na nagbabasa. Yun yung mahirap, eh. Kumbaga nasa 20s ka na or 30s,
oo.
meron yung
Correct,
task
correct.
kailangan mo lang magbasa talaga for the sake na may ma-accomplish ka. Pero paano natin ibi-build 'yun para sa mga gano'ng tao?
Magandang tanong 'yan, Siguro, in my point of view kasi nagtuturo rin ako, hindi rin English as a second language sila so hindi madali para magbasa ng English books. Ang maa-advice ko kahit sa mga Pinoy din, ang best advice na maibibigay ko is think of something that you're interested in. Saan ka interesado? Kung
Hmm,
interested ka sa, let's say, pagpapaganda, then read on beauty books, books that promote beauty, has something to do with beauty products. Start from there. Or sabihin natin, katulad ko, you know very well that I am an advocate for minimalism or intentional living or digital declutter. So, yun, si Cal Newport, nakakita ko ng avenue where I can see the same thoughts and I can even build on the thoughts that I have and learn from him. So, dun kasi, kung saan ka interesado, dun ka magbibigay ng time mo. So, kung mahilig ka sa social media, there are almost 100 books out there that has social media and you don't really have to start with reading a book. You can start with reading articles. Start with short stories,
tama.
fairy tales. So, 'di ba? Fairy tales is a very good medium for you to start reading books. Compiled books, magkano lang naman ang libro na yung sila Grimm's at saka sila Anderson. Although these literature pieces are talagang classic na more than a century old. Ang dami ng paperback ngayon na second hand na ₱100 lang, ₱50 lang. Pwede kang mag-start dun, 'di
Tama
ba?
'yun ano, ah,
Hmm,
tama 'yun, 'di ba, 'yun Reader's Digest. Magsimula muna
hmm,
sa short and eventually pahaba ng pahaba, your reading speed increases. Tapos
mm.
ayun, parang back to basics talaga kahit na nasa 20s ka na or 30s. Pag gusto mong ma-build yung reading habit mo, yan, Reader's Digest. And then after that, yung mga compiled stories, short stories. Ayun, tas
Hmm,
ang ganda kasi, no? Na
oo.
ganun muna. Ano to? One more question. Yung about kwan naman na, what's your take on book downloads? Lahat naman tayo nagda-download ng books eh, 'di ba? Mga
Mm,
free na hindi natin binibili.
mm.
think parang it affects the industry of writing na lalo sa business side ng author or sa tingin mo okay lang din sa kanila yun?
Oh, that's a
If
good
you're a
one.
writer ba, ano,
Mm.
what's your take na parang nalaman mo na dina-download lang for free yung mga books
Oo,
mo?
pinirata na.
Oo.
If I were the writer, siyempre wala akong komisyon sa sales na yun. So, I wouldn't encourage you to download books na for free or mga pinirata. Kasi yung mga piniratang books, you're not even sure if it's correct, it's the correct version. Kasi sometimes like yung Twisted Tales,
Oo.
um, parang may nabili ako sa Shopee na 10 pesos lang yata or 20 or 5 pesos. Kasi yung parang retail, storytell, fairy tale retail. And ang
Oo.
daming mali, ang daming error sa spelling. Parang I think they did it that way para hindi sila madali
Copyright.
sa copyright, oo. Pero siyempre, nagbabasa ka na rin lang. Why would you want to read something na wrong spelling or
Oo.
kulang-kulang ang pages,
May
'di ba?
limita, no?
Oo, ako nga hindi ko natapos, hindi ko na-enjoy. Although maganda yung storyline pero hindi mo kasi ma-appreciate yun lalo na kung nagbabasa ka. But, just a disclaimer, if the author is already dead and nag-ano na, nag-lapse na ang intellectual property rights ng author or publisher, there are over 1,000 books in public domains
Hmm.
na free. So, kung gusto mo talagang magbasa, maraming free na works like, ano ba yung I started reading Emma and Pride and Prejudice from Project Gutenberg. So,
Hmm.
free domain siya, public domain siya, and free ang
Project
download and
Bird, di ba?
yeah,
Hmm.
Project Gutenberg and it's correct yung version ng book. So, okay lang yung download siguro kung patay na yung author.
Oo.
Pero kung buhay pa yung author, hindi ko ma-e-encourage na mag-download kayo ng pirated books kasi hindi natin alam kung kumpleto yung version ng book or kung may virus na nakadikit sa PDF na yun.
Yan lang. I mean, for me, ang take ko naman dyan, hala super guilty ako talaga.
Oh, guilty rin ako eh.
Pero pagka ako yung writer siguro, iyon din, ako okay lang. Kasi, ayan, ito rin yung na-appreciate ko kay Ate Colleen eh, nung last
Mm,
na pinag-usapan namin na it's not yet published pala. Hindi pa pala siya
mm,
published. Pero she's just releasing it on her own. Kaya ang ganda noon eh kasi you think of being published sa kana, maganda money factor is sa kana. And yun eh, parang andun yung indie ba? Kung ba sa music eh, indie. Pero I mean, ang hirap nga naman talaga magbasa. Pero I mean magsulat. Kaya pero with this big name authors, sa tingin ko, ang laki na nakita nila kahit na i-consider yung piracy. Pero yun
oo nga
lang.
'no, oo nga
Oh,
'no. May
hindi
ano ako, may na-realize ako today, oo nga naman, if you really want to spread your message, walang halaga ang pagse-spread mo, walang halaga ang mission mo. And
mm,
hindi matutumbasan ng pera yun pagka nakatulong ka sa ibang tao.
mm. But of course, totoo. May mga subjective na siguro yan. May mga writers na magsasabi talaga na, no,
Yeah,
na not a single page. Hindi mo madadownload yan. Ayoko. Pero meron din siguro mga writers na, sige, downloadin mo lang. Hmm.
okey lang yun, eh, I mean, secondhand books din naman ganun din, wala rin
Oo nga.
silang komisyon,
Oo. Oo nga, no? Tama, tama.
'di ba? Eh, ang dami parang dito kasi, sa Baguio may book club kasi sa Facebook for secondhand books
Oo.
and, merong mga classic no parang mostly classics ang nakikita ko, eh. They sell it for ₱100, ₱50 and may bumibili pa rin naman, eh, nakakatuwa kasi wala namang halaga ang ano, eh, walang walang no amount of money can pay for the knowledge that you obtain from the books, 'di ba? Yun nga yung sabi ni ate na they are like your mentors. So, natututo ka sa kanila and I think it's just incredible, 'di ba?
Hmm. Ganda kaya, parang Kwan ko yun parang pagka dadaan ng session mo yung pinupunta ko bookends ba yun? Sa may likod ng
Oo, bookends.
patriotic, di ba? Yung wagwagan ng
Mm,
libro. Ay, nako.
yeah.
Ang ganda-ganda. Parang, wow. Ang ganda naman ito. Parang
Oo.
haven para sa akin yun. Yung ibang tao, dadaan ng titingin ng mga signature shoes. Yung iba naman
Mm.
siguro, ang dadaanan nila is yung mga action figures pero tayo pagka sa books area,
Oo.
ang sarap, no? Haven.
Ay, grabe. I remember nagbenta pa sila ng libro na per kilo eh.
Ay,
Per
oo.
kilo na books. And then, bakit ba tuwang-tuwa ako sa bookstore na yun? Pumapayag pa silang magpatawad.
Oo. Oo, tama.
Siyempre nung mga time na yun, di naman tayo nagtatrabaho, estudyante ka lang. Tatawad ka kasi gusto mo talaga yung libro. Pumapayag naman sila kaya nakakatuwa. I think they're still operational eh.
Nako, I can't wait pag-uwi ko.
Oo. Kaya I don't really mind kung secondhand yung binabasa ko or like paperback.
Diba? It's
Hindi
the
naman
same.
ako masyado. It's the text. It's the text that matters. So, siguro in time, masasanay ka rin sa Kindle kasi um, talagang book reader ka. So, hahanapin mo yung pag-flip ng page.
Oo.
Ano pa ba? Yung physical na hahawakan mo yung book. Yung
Oo.
everything that has to do with the physical book. I think hinahanap mo pa yun sa ngayon. Maybe even the smell of the book, hahanapin mo yun.
Oo.
Pero, hindi ko alam eh. Siguro dahil sa Kindle, ayoko ng amoy ng libro, nababahuan ako eh. So,
Oo.
yung, baka maraming magalit sa akin dahil dun. Um, pero eventually, it's the text naman that you're after. So, siguro, um, in time, mga one chapter, until sa masanay ka sa Kindle. Pero kung ako tatanungin mo, physical books, walang tatalo sa physical books.
Oo. Oo. Pero ayun, yan. I'm open naman Meron na rin naman ako mga natapos sa Kindle. Pero binenta ko na yung Kindle. Parang,
Os,
oo, kasi ang nangyayari, minsan, naiiwan ko sa bahay. Tapos,
mm.
pag naisipan ko ng magbasa, hindi ko rin naman dala. Kaya, ang
Oo.
ginagawa ko, nakasave na siya meron na yung mga books na binabasa ko, nakasave na sa Google Drive. Meron sa Kindle. Kumbaga, nakakalat na siya sa devices ko. Parang
Hmm,
anywhere man ako, yun ang gagamitin ko. Kung ano yung hawak ko ngayon.
oo, tama. The only reason why I opted for Kindle because of environmental reasons.
Tama.
So, kailangan daw makabasa ka ng at least 25 books sa Kindle para maging eco-free, how do I say it? In order for you to make it parang sulit sa
Oo.
carbon footprint niya. In fairness naman sa akin, naka more than 25 na ako. So, malamang sulit na sulit na yung Kindle sa akin.
Tsaka ayoko yung version ng Kindle ko. Ayan, nagtitingin na naman ako ng Kindle habang nag-uusap tayo. Ayoko kasi yung
Oh.
version ng Kindle ko kasi Kindle Fire yun So yun yung
Ay, parang
parang
tablet din.
tablet. Oo.
Mm.
Kung bibili naman ako sa susunod, yun na siguro yung plain lang. Ano ba yun? Yung
Oo, meron namang ano, basic Paperwhite and ano yung isa
paperback.
yung gusto ko? What you call this? Oasis, meron ding Oasis pero feeling ko kasi hindi practical eh, kasi pare-pareho rin lang naman Kindle kaya ang kinuha ko lang yung basic na may ilaw.
Ayun, no? Meron 1,100 nakita ko. Pero yun nga lang, malayo dito.
Oh,
Wala.
Facebook Marketplace ano.
Oo, shipping. Ah,
Ang saya pa lang ano, ang saya pa lang magkaroon ng random episode na totally unplanned, just talking about the common things that we all
oo,
like.
yun nga Sayang wala yung iba. I mean, nakakatuwa siguro. De bale, yung next episode natin is about yon kay hindi. Ano ba yung susunod? 11 ba? Ah,
Mm.
yes, 11 on April 11 CMC. yung ah, ayun, parang preview na rin natin. May pinost siya sa Facebook
Mm.
about her experience of being abused, and for
Mm.
many years parang tinago niya yon, and she resorted to alcoholism para i-manage yung trauma niya. And
Mm.
then eventually nagkaroon siya ng lakas to open up, and lengthy yung post eh. Tapos na-share siya sa Artecdote pa yun, yung isang page din ah, sa Baguio, tas naging viral. So meron siyang pastry and cake um, shop, tas yan yung made to order cakes yung yung trabaho niya ata, or I don't know. Pero malalaman natin a lot about her MC, si Ate MC or Ading, hindi ko alam. Pero malalaman natin lahat. Ganito rin na setup, kaya maganda.
Oo. Mas
Parang,
authentic kasi eh.
pero strong yun. I mean, that's gonna be a very solid episode kasi ewan ko kung paano tayo magre-react eh. Kasi
Naku, iiyak na naman ako nito.
it's a very sensitive episode talaga. I mean,
Mm.
and then after nun, yung sa KGB naman, sa
Mm.
18 na yung Keep Going Baguio, kung paano nabuo yon, yung organization nila.
Oh,
Ayun.
maganda yan. Maganda yan. O sige, ano
Ayun.
natin yan, i-incorporate natin yan. I'm excited to see the reaction of the audience, and kasi ang dami pa ring magandang feedback na pumapasok until now.
Mm.
And in a few months from now, mag-1 year na tayo.
Oh, yes. Ay nako, bilis ano? Kumbaga,
Mm.
ah April, May, June,
6
July,
months.
October. Oh, sakto. October, sana makauwi ako dyan. Tas yung ibang na-guest natin, sila Ponges, lilipat na rin from Tarlac eh. Uwi ng
Oh,
Baguio. Ay, ang ganda nun. Sana wala na, sana medyo subside na to mga to, and we can have lunch man lang kahit pa paano.
yeah. I just hope that everybody will be healthy kasi um, I think that
Yun.
was yesterday.
Oo.
As of yesterday, wait lang i-confirm ko lang. I'll put you on mute, sandali lang. Sorry, I had to put you on mute. Kinonfirm ko lang. As of yesterday, we have 25,000 active cases around Cordillera.
Ayun, ang laki. Diyos ko.
Exactly. So,
And wala na eh.
doble ingat na lang.
Full capacity na yung mga hospitals, di ba?
Wala na nga daw space. So, we're hoping for the best kasi aminin natin o hindi, ang daming taong naging complacent nung nalaman nilang may vaccine.
Oo,
And
dyan na.
unfortunately for the Philippines, we are a third world country, so the supply is not enough for everyone. So I hope na continuously mag-iingat ang mga tao kasi hindi po biro na may mga kakilala ka nang namatay, may family members ka na frontliner, nakakatakot masyado.
Kaya nga eh. Kailangan
Hopefully it gets better. Hmm. Ayun. Pero ending the podcast in a positive note, please do continue reading kasi reading changes our lives.
yun, tama, magbasa. And napakagandang habit if you're a parent, parang it's good na ipamana yung habit na yon. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Kasi who would know how, kasi yung it will open doors eh sa
Exactly.
madaming bagay, kaya ang sarap ipamana kung parent ka, mag-build the habit with your children na magbasa. Kasi gano'n naman tayo eh.
Mm.
Feeling ko it all came because of our background naman growing up, 'di ba?
Exactly, exactly. And sabi nga, I'm pretty sure it's Albert Einstein. Sabi nila, please don't get angry at me for saying this. to the audience. Sabi nga ni Albert Einstein, if you want your children to be wiser, to be more intelligent, to be more engaging, let them read.
Hmm.
So,
Hindi lang
ayun.
yung
Baka kasi,
read na tas magbabasa lang skillfully your pronunciation.
yes.
Pero hindi lang yun. It's
Yes.
how you discern, how you infer information, diba? How
Mm,
yan.
exactly. And mismo sa world's fastest reader, I watched his interview kasi he can read up to 80 pages in a minute. He's the world's fastest reader.
Grabe.
What he said is it's not about reading fast. It's not about saying the words perfectly or reading it in the proper way katulad ng sabi mo, Marco. When you read, you have to touch it, you have to feel it, you have to taste it, you have to be in the same exact situation with what you're reading. So if you're reading something like fiction, for example, you have to touch it, feel it, taste it. If the person is hurting, you have to feel the same feeling in order for you to understand that book, in order for you to be able to go outside of your comfort zone, and alam mo yun, ultimately make your imagination broader than it is, than the existing one, because it ultimately you become a more creative person because of what you do.
Tama. Exactly. Kaya, ayun. So, since ngayon, it's pandemic and you have to stay home, I think it's a perfect time to build that habit din. Kaya, yun,
Exactly.
relation
At
to,
saka I'm sorry, go ahead, ikaw muna.
yun, parang in relation to what's happening. Kaya, yun na lang, magbasa na lang.
Tsaka nakakatanggal ng stress. Hindi
Oh.
na ako kasing stress ng dati. So,
Tama.
like when you lesson on dopamine, lesson on social media, nakuha ko rin to kay Cal Newport, and you divert your attention on something else, hindi ka na masa-stress. Like, I remember last year, I was so stressed with my job. Hindi naman kasi madaling mag-handle ng 70, 80 na tao all at the same time. So, when I started reading, wala na, mani-mani na lang yan. Natatanggal ang stress mo. You don't even have to drink. You don't
Tama.
even have to. Oh, but I'm not judging other people. If you want to drink, it's your prerogative. Pero ako, I'm just so happy because I transitioned out of alcohol. I don't drink. I just read a book. I have a cup of tea, and I'm happy. No problem.
Ayan, magkuhan nga tayo. Ayun, yung about sa handling a team. Siguro, gawin natin sa last week ng April. Tapusin muna natin yung dalawa natin. Then, we can
Sige.
have that. Kasi pwede rin si Glenn doon. Kasi may hinandle siyang team nung nasa Batangas pa siya. Naging team leads din si Glenn. We can do
That's
that.
great.
Kaya maganda yun. May mga leaders pala tayo dito eh. Kaya
Ate Colleen.
Ayun. Sige. Gawin natin yan last week. Tapos, ayun, sige. Ituloy natin ito next after 2 episodes. Yung parang regroup ulit tayo. Pero next Saturday, ayun, let's work with Ate MC. Hopefully, Glenn will be here. And Mary kasi kailangan natin yung support nila.
Okay, sige. All right, this was a very fun episode indeed. Sana maulit.
Oo, marami pa. Medyo magaganito muna format natin for the meantime.
Oo, tama. So it transition din, at least may na-discover din tayong bago. Thank you very much for your time, Marco.
Thank you, Steffie.
Alright, see you next week. Bye-bye.
Next week. Bye-bye. Ingat dyan, ha?
Kayo rin.
Alright, bye-bye.